The Patrick Riggins Show. Call in now, 865-243-TALK. That's 243-8255. And now your host, Patrick Riggins.
Yes, one of us is going down, and it isn't me. It is this fanatical reliance on government solutions to everything in our country. Welcome to another week of the Patrick Riggins Show here on the Libertarian Lighthouse Radio Network, the radio station on which you hear this bastion of logical and reasoned thinking is 100.3 WNOX, the flagship station of the Patrick Riggins Show. The station pumping out 100,000 watts of power and blasting my voice loud and clear over parts of 5 of these great southeastern United States. Even with all that power, though, we cannot alter physics. It's just a simple fact that some people are not going to be able to receive our broadcast via the radio waves. If that is the case where you live, then I don't know how you're listening to me. But you still don't have to miss one exciting moment of the show.
You can catch them on the internet.
There we go. Glad you brought that up, Tori.
Hopefully it's working this week.
Yes, all you need to do is bring up your web browser and type in www.wnoxfm.com, and there you can watch and listen to this show being simulcast live via the internet. That web address again is wnoxfm.com, and hopefully it is running this week. I was notified last week it was not. Well, it was, but you couldn't hear anything. So you could see us, but no hearing. That may be a good thing. It may be a bad thing, depending on how you look at it.
Read lips.
So, and speaking of being alive and in person, we have in our studio, you've heard him right here, our show producer, Tori. Are you enjoying the cooler weather?
Yeah.
I am not. I was hoping we could avoid all this and just stay with the warm weather we had last week.
Yes, I know. Me too.
Unfortunately not. But, hey, that's life. What are you going to do?
That's right, PR.
PR. That's good PR. All right. Well, thank you for everyone for taking the time to tune in this week, both our new listeners and our loyal veteran ones. For you new people, you're listening to the benchmark show for libertarian thinking, the bedrock of the Libertarian Lighthouse Radio Network. It's none other than the show named after that great American citizen, Patrick Riggins, the Patrick Riggins Show. Here we are fighting for a return to the principles that made America great. No, not conservative principles and not progressive principles, but libertarian principles, American principles. Those are what made this country great. Freedom and liberty. You cannot have those with a government that insists on trying to run everyone's life. And I'm not talking about just the federal government, but government at all levels. Nosiness isn't confined to just Washington, D.C. No, it has corrupted government all the way down to your local county and city representatives. Notice I don't refer to them as leaders, as most people do. These people aren't leaders. Leaders are people in business, people in industry, people working to better mankind. People in government are not supposed to be the leaders. They're supposed to be the followers. They are our employees. We are the leaders. We are the ones that should be telling them what to do and when to do it. We elect them. If I can hire and fire you, then I'm your boss. I'm over you. And thus I'm the leader, not you working in government. This is part of the problem in America today. We have everything backwards. We name things after people in government. But just look at all the pork projects all around this country. Roads and bridges, buildings, parks. 9 times out of 10, they're named for a politician. The person who stole the money from the taxpayers to spend it on this monument, this park or bridge or whatever it is. And to reward this thievery, we name it after this person. They didn't pay for it. All they did was take the money from the taxpayers of this country and spend it. That's an activity, well, personally, I don't particularly think calls for being rewarded. Now, if a private individual or individuals get together and purchase the land or the building or whatever and set it aside for public use, then sure, they can name it whatever they want and have a foundation to care for it. They don't need to acquire it and then donate it to the government. That just puts the burden on upkeep on us, the taxpayers. If enough people want it, then funding a foundation to pay for its care and upkeep should not be any problem at all. If you want to look at government this way, it's like a bush in your yard that you haven't been paying attention to. You've been busy taking the kids to baseball practice or going to visit friends or watching television. All the while, this bush has continued growing and growing until one day you look out in your yard and this thing's just run amok.
Is this like George Bush?
It could be.
Okay, go ahead.
You could use that.
Sorry.
But it pertains to any government. But this thing is now in your front yard. It's overgrown its space. It is out of all proportion. It's trying to take over the whole yard. It's ugly and it needs pruning.
It is a George Bush.
Yeah. Unfortunately, unlike this bush of ours, government won't sit back and let you prune it. It is going to fight back. Just witness all the president and government in general is doing to make these sequester cuts as hard on everybody as they can. This is what our founders warned us about. They realized the citizens needed to keep government under control. They knew government needed to be constantly monitored or it would start overgrowing its bounds. It's inevitable. This is the natural progression of government unless it's checked by the people. Look at any organization that started. It constantly and consistently outgrows its bounds. Now, the founders knew this. The government needs to be pruned back. Unfortunately, like that wild bush, as Tori likes to say, or tree or whatever it is that has outgrown your yard, when we prune it back, it's going to look ugly and bare. But it will eventually fill back out and the cycle will repeat. It will tend to outgrow its boundaries again and have to be pruned yet again. The easier way to do it next time is to prune a little every year and keep it in its place. That way you don't have to radically cut huge pieces out of it to get it back to where it should be. All right, we're up on the first break on the Patrick Riggins Show. This hour, if you're a conservative and you're a Republican, well, you want to be sure and tune in.
Wah, wah.
Yeah, you will not. You may like Patrick after this next segment, or you may not.
Are you going to tickle their fancy?
That would be, I hope so.
You want to tickle
I hope they're not screaming. Anyway, we'll come back with that and more on the Patrick Riggins Show.